their bombing campaign against Islamic extremists in northern Mali. Despite the aerial attacks, Islamic insurgents seized a government-controlled territory early this morning. Mali's military is reeling, having lost control of many towns since the insurgency began almost a year ago. The French military arrived in the region last Friday and began launching airstrikes soon after. Rudy Atallah is a senior fellow with the Michael S. Ansari Africa Center, and he's speaking to us from our studio in Washington. So, Rudy, Canada announced, Prime Minister Harper announced just a few hours ago that they'd be helping France and Mali by sending a military cargo plane for logistical purposes. Our Prime Minister was clear to say that not providing military intervention, just helping out for logistical purposes. So why specifically do you think Canada willing to help France?
Well, it's because the problem set is really big. I mean, Islamists do have some sophisticated weapons. They have tremendous capabilities. They have supposedly some embedded foreign fighters that were capable, that have fought against us in Iraq and Afghanistan. And if this problem set continues to grow in northern part of Mali, it will definitely be a destabilizer for the region, especially for industries like oil and gas and various other types of businesses.
A spokesperson for the Islamist militants has said that France will be dragged into a long, brutal war similar to what we saw in Afghanistan and Iraq. What's your response to that?
Yeah, that's a fair point, and it's something really to carefully think about. If you look at the French population, approximately 10% is North African, one generation or another. And there are some who are sympathetic to the AQIM cause, or Al-Qaeda in Islamic Maghreb. And, all along for the last 5 months, Islamists from the north have also threatened anybody who joins the intervention force against them in the north will suffer the consequences, to include, as they stated it, sleeper cells that are in host country capitals. So, the capacity is there. We've seen what AQIM has been able to do over the years in Algeria, and certainly they bring that capability potentially to bear in this fight. So we're talking about an insurgency war.
But do the Islamist militants even have what it takes to defeat a country like France and Mali's military?
It's not essentially like defeating in the sense, but we're talking about they can draw out this war, make it painfully expensive. And France, the last thing France needs is an expensive war. And they can also push up the casualty rates to such a point where the Islamists are willing to fight this over a long period of time, vice, France and other coalition forces, having to look at the long-term wear and tear that it's going to take on their militaries and the cost of having to fight this problem.
Rudy, last week the chairperson of the African Union was meeting with our prime minister here in this country, and he was saying that what's going on in Mali is a global problem, and he specifically asked for Canada, along with other countries, to get involved and help militarily speaking. So I'm curious, why is France fighting this particular fight? I mean, we know that we're hearing from many African nations saying it's a global problem, we need lots of people to help, but why is France stepping up to the plate? Why are they getting involved in this conflict in the first place?
Well, first of all, Mali is a French colony. Number two, I have about 6,000 French citizens in Bamako, and Mali had a coup in March of last year, and the current junta regime is in control. And within Malian military ranks, there's very low morale. They've lost a lot of equipment when the rebel forces in the north took over back in April. So, the capacity for Mali military to actually hold the line was not going to happen. Islamists were far more organized and better equipped. And so France had to step in to hold the line from that further push south, trying to protect the rest of Mali becoming, an Islamist-controlled country with access to, fuel, weapons, or whatnot. And so France is also hoping that there would be donor nations that would step in And something I haven't seen yet is who's going to donate for this long-term fight, and then who is actually going to join the fight. The space we're talking about in northern Mali is the size of France, which is going to be a big problem to actually hold in the long term. It's going to be very costly in terms of actually militarily and in terms of financially.
And so what about Mali's neighboring countries? I mean, what kind of role do you expect they'll play as the conflict escalates?
Well, they're very concerned. Mauritania, Niger, Burkina, everybody's concerned about the spillover into across their borders, and they have some sizable borders with, not sophisticated capacities. I mean, when Libya fell, a lot of weapons made their way from southern Libya in through northern Niger into northern Mali, and their porous borders along the Mauritanian side. So, these countries want to step up and protect from this overflow, coming out of Mali into their territory and potentially affecting their citizens and their commerce.
It's an ongoing conversation. Rudy Atallah, Senior Fellow with the Michael S. Ansari Africa Center. Thank you so much.